Welcome to Football with Cheese. I slept like a baby last night. Best night of sleep I've had in quite a while. Maybe some Packer fans were all hyped up so they didn't sleep well. No, not me. Very relaxed. Got a ton of sleep. Almost too much. I'm a little tired. But in this video, we're going to break down the Micah Parsons trade a little bit more. If you did not see, I did an instant reaction. It's about a 10-minute video. I'll link it in one of these boxes at the end, one of these, to make sure you check that out. I'm going to try not to repeat myself. I might make the same point just to dig a little deeper, but I'm going to try not to repeat myself from that video. Make sure, first of all, you're subscribed. Hit the bell for notification. I promise a college football weekend preview is coming later this afternoon. The Packers are doing a press conference. The general manager is doing it at, looks like 2 Eastern, and then Matt LaFleur, and then Micah Parsons at 3:30, I believe. So this video should be out right before. I'll react to that as we go, another video, or maybe on the podcast every Tuesday night. My buddy Mike started The Sports Truth. I am the co-host. Starts at 9 Eastern. We're going to do a huge NFL preview. I have to change a few things after this trade because I've done most of the notes on it. But we're going to predict division winners, playoff winners, award winners, over-unders. Huge NFL show. So make sure you check that out. Link in the description. So let's get into it. Let's talk about the timeline first. We heard a rumor about a week ago the Packers were interested. There was no other team out there that was rumored. Like maybe there were some teams talked about. Even the division rival Bears was talked about. But no one was talked about as much as Green Bay, that they were interested. And I did believe they're interested. Some people said, oh, they won't do it. The Packers don't make trades like this. I believe they were interested. But a funny thing happened about 28 hours before the news broke. Micah Parsons started following the Packers Instagram page. And my reaction, which was incorrect, was that he was just doing it as a dig to Jerry Jones. He'd heard the rumors as well. And he was trying to show Cowboys, I'm done. I want to be traded. Here's a team that's been rumored. And just using his leverage. I didn't think it was real. Turns out, I truly believe that is when he was told by his agent, we have a deal in place. This is going to happen. We just got to finish the deal with the Cowboys. Like, the contract's done. The 4 years, $188 million, $47 a year. That was done. And that's when I think Micah Parsons followed the Packers on Instagram. That's just a guess on my end. Obviously, the trade compensation had to be worked out. But you don't want to get your hopes up because there are so many rumors out there that never happen. And we heard rumors about Myles Garrett getting traded. He ended up staying, signed an extension. Same thing with Max Crosby for the Raiders. I would be shocked if Green Bay didn't try a trade for either one of those players. Obviously, those players stayed with their respective teams. Now, let's talk about Ed Policy. Who is Ed Policy? He is the brand new team president of the Green Bay Packers. They do not have an owner. They have a board, and the board hires the president. And the president basically acts as the de facto owner. He hires the head coach, the general manager, all of that. So no team president in all of sports has more power than the Packers president. Mark Murphy retired, and Ed Policy took over, I think in June or July, something like that. And Matt LaFleur, the head coach of the Packers, and general manager Brian Gutekunst both have 2 years left on their contract, and Ed Policy did not extend either one. He wanted to wait. And that told me a lot. It told me that early exits in the playoffs are not acceptable anymore. Yes, we've had a young team. They lost in the divisional round 2 years ago. Last year, they didn't even get out of the wild card round. That's not acceptable. They need to do better to get contract extensions. I'm not saying they get fired, but they need to do better. And there was a quote from Brian Gutekunst. I call him Goody. It's just easier. His name's very hard to say. He said something about, we need to start winning championships after the season. I was pissed when I heard that. Because what are you trying to do? Of course you're trying to win championships. But I get it now. What he meant was, we need to change things up. We need to do things differently than we've always done. If you did not know, the Packers are a draft and develop team. I like this strategy. Ted Thompson was the Packers GM for 14 or 15 years, I believe. He took over in 2005. His very first pick was Aaron Rodgers. He is my favorite GM of all time. I love him. May he rest in peace. He died about 4 years ago. And he did so well building the Packers team. They won the Super Bowl in 2011. They would have won one or two more if Mike McCarthy was not their head coach. That was the biggest fail for Ted Thompson, was not getting rid of Mike McCarthy sooner or hiring him in the first place. Sean Payton wanted the job, by the way. Sean Payton wanted that job, and he hired Mike McCarthy and said, Mike McCarthy's just a horrible coach, especially in big games. Jim Harbaugh, when he was at the 49ers, ate him for breakfast. Destroyed him in all those big games. But anyway, Ted Thompson did such a great job, but his philosophy was build through the draft, re-sign our key players. Every once in a while, use free agency just to go after somebody really big that's available, maybe just a playmaker like Charles Woodson, Julius Peppers. Those are two big examples. Ryan Pickett's another one. But rarely use free agency. We're going to use our cap room to re-sign our core, our best players, and build through the draft. We're going to get compensatory picks when we lose the free agents we don't sign. We're going to trade back. We're going to focus on the draft. And that worked so well. But it only works if you draft well. And Ted Thompson started having some bad drafts, and that's where it went downhill. Now, Brian Gutekunst worked for the Packers under Thompson, so he had that philosophy as well, except Goody goes after free agents a little bit more aggressive. You know, he went after Zadarius Smith, Preston Smith, obviously Xavier McKinney, Josh Jacobs, Nate Hobbs, Aaron Banks. So he's a little more aggressive in free agency, but same philosophy. We trade down. We get more picks. And I realize now when Goody said that, we need to start competing for championships, that this status quo is not enough. There is a quote I love from one of the best movies of all time. And it's from The Dark Knight, 2008. If you've not seen it, why? It's part of the Christian Bale Batman trilogy. It's the middle movie. And the character of Harvey Dent, who was the district attorney at the time, said this: you either die a hero or you live long enough to become a villain. Now, I'm going to take that quote and apply it to the Packers and general manager Brian Gutekunst. Obviously, I'm not talking about literal death, but Goody could do the same thing that he's been doing and Ted Thompson's doing, and just hope I hit on draft picks and hope some of these guys become playmakers. Packers don't have enough playmakers. That's the biggest difference between the Eagles-Lions level and the Packers. I think they're one notch down before this trade. Is the Eagles and Lions have more playmakers on offense and defense. That's really the difference. And Goody hasn't had the best track record on hitting on first-round picks. Maybe that's the main reason. But he could do the same thing over and over and hope he eventually hits on playmakers. And if not, he becomes the villain. If they don't win championships, he could lose his job and he becomes the villain. Or he could go for it. He could die a hero. He could go all in. Let's go get a playmaker. Let's go get a Micah Parsons. Let's change things up. Let's go draft a skill position player in the first round, a playmaker on offense. Let's trade for a playmaker on defense. That was the biggest issues with the Packers. They didn't have a playmaker on defense, and they didn't have a number one receiver on offense. Those are fixed with drafting Matthew Gold in the first round and trading for Micah Parsons. If you look at the Packers since 2002, they have drafted mostly defense, but when they do go offense, it's been Aaron Rodgers, Jordan Love, and offensive tackles. That's it. No tight ends, no running backs, no wide receivers. So no skill position playmakers. They needed number one receiver. He went and got Matthew Golden. They needed a defensive playmaker. They went and traded for Micah Parsons. A future Hall of Fame pass rusher value is more than 2 first-round picks, late first-round picks, and Kenny Clark. I love Kenny Clark to death. He's always been a very good player, not a great player. You know, he's not a Hall of Famer or anything. He'll be a Packer Hall of Famer, but he's just always been a very good player. But his play significantly dropped off this past year, and I don't think he would have been on the team after this year anyway. I think they would have released him unless he had this huge bounce back. So, moving on. David Mulugeta, I believe that's his name. He is the agent for Micah Parsons, also the agent for Jordan Love. This dude got half a great season in Jordan Love, $55 million a year, and he just got Micah Parsons, $47 million a year. Agent of the year. Holy crap. What a good agent. And I like agents where you don't even know what they look like. You never hear them talk. They only post on social media. You know, the opposite of Drew Rosenhaus. I'd like that. And he's a really good agent. Another point. Parsons did have some back issues in the offseason. He had the ankle injury last year, missed 6 games, but he passed the physical. Apparently the back's fine. He's healthy. I'm not worried about it. I know Jerry Jones mentioned the injuries about a month ago or so. Jerry Jones could not have handled this worse. It's almost like he purposely pushed Parsons away, pushed him on another team. And if you're going to trade him, you need to trade him before the draft. We've talked about this with Trey Hendrickson. If he was traded by the Bengals, he ended up staying, getting a raise. But the time to trade him is before the draft because you need to get better that year. Now you're delayed a year. You needed to get the Packers' first-round pick this past year, the 23rd pick. You could have gotten Matthew Golden. Holy crap. Imagine that receiving core. There's a lot of players they could have gotten. You needed to get that trade done before the draft. They waited, and who knows, this pick could be 29, 30, 32 the next 2 years. Jerry he's in his 80s. He just needs to retire. Let Stephen Jones hire someone to run this team. It's probably the most poorly run franchise right now in the NFL. And I can't believe I'm saying that. Because there's some teams that are really poorly run. I'm not going to mention them. You probably know who I'm talking about. But there was a rumor they had a basic agreement with Parsons earlier in the offseason. Got some coffee. Packer mug. Interesting. They had some kind of agreement, and then it just started going downhill every time Jerry opened his mouth. He talked about, Parsons could get hit by a car. He talked about we could pay a guy and his play will just drop off. That's happened to us before. It's Micah Parsons, future Hall of Famer. He has 12 sacks in every year since he's come into the league. The only other player to do that in his first, I guess it's 4 seasons, is Reggie White. Ironic, right? But Jerry, it's almost like he sabotaged this on purpose. Like they weren't going to pay Micah Parsons. And they probably could have paid him $42, $43 million a year, not $47 like Green Bay did, if they paid him earlier in the offseason. I just don't understand. And the press conference didn't help Jerry at all. He said, we thought this was the best interest of the organization. It is not. I completely disagree. But if you're trying to rebuild, why aren't you trading CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott? Might as well. Shop them too. Might as well stink. Lose for Arch, right? Lose for Arch Manning. Some people thought that's what they're trying to do. Get picks, get Arch Manning. They're not getting Arch Manning. They're not that bad. They're not going to pick in the top 5. I don't think so. Because they do have some good players on offense. The defense is going to stink. Defense, I think, would probably be middle of the pack with Parsons. The defense could be really bad. But Jerry would go on to say, we gained a Pro Bowl player. You gained a former Pro Bowl player. He made a Pro Bowl 2 years ago. He played like an average player at best last year. He made the Pro Bowl in 2019, 2021, 2023. So 3 Pro Bowls in 9 years. Former Pro Bowl. And Jerry keeps saying that, and the Cowboys X page had Pro Bowler on there. I mentioned that in their instant reaction. He's trying to change the narrative. Keeps saying Pro Bowler. He's not a Pro Bowl at this point in his career. He's 29. He's on the decline, I've mentioned. I hope he has a bounce back year because I like Kenny Clark, but you're not getting a player even close to the impact of Micah Parsons. And Jerry acted like, oh, no, this is going to help us. We needed interior defensive help. Yes, you did. You almost drafted Walter Nolan. That was the rumor. They were between Walter Nolan, defensive tackle Ole Miss, and Tyler Booker, guard Alabama. And Jerry made the decision to take Tyler Booker. We'll see if that's the correct one. But, yeah, I don't think their defense is going to be good at all. I think they're going to get a lot of shootouts, kind of like the Bengals last year. Maybe not that bad, but they could be in a lot of shootouts. And let's talk about the Packers. So before the trade, I truly believe the Packers were under the radar. The over-under was 9.5 wins. I thought that was incorrect. I had over. Did I think they're on the level of, like I said, Lions, Eagles going in the year? No. One notch down. Like I said, I thought those teams just had more playmakers overall. Maybe not so much anymore. Are the Packers the favorites to win the NFC North? Tune in Tuesday for the Sports Truth Podcast to find out, where me and Mike will pick all the division winners. Who knows? I'll tell you this, it's between the Lions and Packers. I'm not picking the Bears because it's the Bears. One more point, or 2 more points. Aaron Rodgers. He's got to be going. Brian Gutekunst, who he doesn't like, by the way. He does not like him. He's told a reporter that. I do not like him. He's got to be like, why didn't you go out and get someone when I was there? Why didn't you make a trade like this before? I'm sure they tried, but maybe they couldn't agree to terms. Maybe not. But Aaron Rodgers got to be like, man, the last couple of years we had some really good teams. We just needed one more player to get us over the top. And he's got to be wondering, why couldn't you do this for me? Oh, well. Anyway, last thing I want to mention, because this is a long video, but I had a lot to say. I actually didn't even go through all my notes. I had to skip some because this would be a 30-minute video. But week 4, Green Bay at Dallas. It's like they knew because it's Sunday Night Football. And wow, the ratings are going to be off the charts. I'm wondering now if the ratings for that game is going to be even bigger than week 8 when the Packers visit Pittsburgh to play Aaron Rodgers. Ratings are going to be huge for both those games. But I feel bad kind of for Tyler Guyton. Tyler Guyton is a left tackle for the Cowboys, really struggled as a rookie last year. Now he has to go against Parsons. He had to go against him in practice, probably happy I'd never have to play against him. Now he has to. Wow. You just know Parsons is going to have a monster game. I'm just so happy as a Packer fan. This is such a big move, and I think this puts the Packers up there. Eagles, Lions, Packers to me. Those are the top 3. Washington, I know they're very good, but I still have them a notch down. But to me, those 3 teams are the best in the NFC. Which one will I have in the Super Bowl? Stay tuned. Tuesday, Sports Group Podcast, link in the description. Check out my articles. Link is also in the description. You know what to do? Subscribe, hit the bell for notification. Give me that thumbs up. Really helps out the channel. Share this with anyone who loves football as we grow football with cheese. Check these out if you have not. And this afternoon, check out my college football weekend preview.